All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is October 4th. We got ourselves a Saturday and 4 MLB postseason games to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That's where you'll find all of my final plays. So I'm actually rolling myself. If that does interest you, if you do want to fade me or if you do want to ride with me, all of those plays will be absolutely free down in the pinned comment. And good thing they are free because the last time out we had a brutal postseason day. I thought we were in a nice little postseason run, and then someone pulled the emergency brake there. We go 0-3-1. Talk about leaving a bad taste in my mouth, right? Hopefully we do a little bit better today. I do like the slate, and I'm really excited to dive into the next round here of the playoffs. A little bit of like FYI before we do dive into the slate, we will be back home. We've been in Europe for 10 days now. We will be back home for our coming videos and next videos. We fly home tonight. So yes, to all the guppies in the comments being like, "Oh, the video doesn't look as good. It doesn't sound as good." Hey, we're doing our best out here. Still trying to grind out the videos. But yes, the guppies will be quite pleased to know that we will be back home there. Except the guppies are never quite pleased, are they? But let's go ahead and dive into today's slate, guys. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. The non-guppies have been absolutely amazing in terms of support as we've had this extended vacation here. I know the road videos, yes, the audio quality, the video quality might not be, even the graphics might not be as great as when we are at home, but we still do put in a ton of effort and invest into upgrading the road setup and whatnot. So really do appreciate all of you guys that have still supported us. But yeah, let's go ahead and dive into today's slate, shall we? Let's dive into it. Milwaukee taking on Chicago. Freddie Peralta on the bump here in game number 1 for Milwaukee, going up against Matthew Boyd. Freddie Peralta, his last time out against Chicago, looked very, very good. I'll give him that there, right? He pitched 6 innings, a one-hit game, 6 strikeouts. Did have 3 walks, but no earned. And Milwaukee won that game 7-0. Now Matthew Boyd, coming off of a decent start there against San Diego, 4 1/3 pitch. They didn't really, throw him too much. I think he only threw like 60 pitches or so. 2 strikeouts, 1 earned on 4 hits, so not all that bad. His last start against this Milwaukee squad was very good as well. Don't believe he allowed a run there. So overall, I do think we have 2 decent pitchers here, but if we're looking at that last start for both these guys, you're going to be like, okay, yeah, they're going to pitch really, really well. But the starts that came prior to that, and obviously, these two teams see each other a decent amount, multiple starts from this season, no bueno, right? So I do think that we could see some runs. I know it's not really like playoff baseball-esque to be looking at overs first and foremost, but I think that might be one of my favorite spots in this game. I think both of these lineups could do some damage today. We do have Matthew Boyd, who's going to throw a ton of fastballs and changeups. We even saw that against the Padres. Milwaukee to close out the year here, last 30 days, 4th in terms of hitting the fastball, 2nd in terms of hitting the changeup. Freddie Peralta is going to throw the fastball. Now, the Cubs have struggled against the fastball. I will give you that, right? But he also throws the changeup, the curveball, and those are 2 pitches that this Cubs team is really hitting, especially the top of the order where you have Bush, Happ, Suzuki, Tucker, Horner, right? So I think we could see some runs here. And if I do expect some more runs than normal with this total at 7.5 there, kind of like the idea of leaning towards the underdog. I mean, yes, I like Freddie Peralta at home, but he struggles a little bit against lefties, and there's going to be, 3 or 4 lefties, including switch hitters, in this lineup today. And I already mentioned the top of the order there. Like 3 of the top 5 guys, or 3 of the top 4 guys, actually, are going to be lefties. Now, Matthew Boyd is really good against lefties and struggles against righties. There is a lot of righties in this Milwaukee lineup as well. Remember, I like the over here. So as I talk about how, I think this Cubs team can hit Peralta and blah, 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 it's not to say that the Brewers won't be able to, compete. But I do think for the price you're getting, the Cubs are going to be the spot that I look at. Plus 142 right now are the odds. I think that that's honestly well worth it when you kind of, price this one out. Do I think it's going to be a close game? Hell yeah. I think that this is like a 5-4 or a 4-4 type game. Someone has to score the deciding run. So overall, give me the Cubs in this spot as well as the over. But if I had to rank those two in terms of side and total, I'd say total, then side. A player prop that I'm considering, and I want to make sure we snag it at plus money if we do roll with it. It's available for plus 105 on MGM, plus 105 on Profit X. Elsewhere, it's even odds, and then it moves into like the minus 101, minus 102 range, which I do think that 7 cents can be important here. But it's Kyle Tucker over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Love him and his pitch mix rating that we create via our algorithm against Peralta today. He also, in 15 plate appearances against Peralta, has a 455 average, a 600 on base percentage, and he's only struck out 6.7% of the time. So I do like him for hit, run, and RBI today. I also don't mind the idea of paying a little bit of juice at minus 160 and taking him just to record a hit. So there's definitely some options that we might be rolling with in today's game. As always, make sure to keep an eye on the final plays. Next game. Next up, we have Toronto taking on the Yankees. This is a tough one, honestly. I think it could go both ways, and I know you guys hate when I say that, but realistically, I do think that this Yankees offense will start to get better and better as the postseason progresses. I know they didn't fully show it against the Red Sox, but there are some things that, didn't pass the eye test earlier in the year that maybe seeming like they're coming around here. A little bit. I'm not trying to get carried away and put too much air in their tires. Kevin Gausman on the mound for Toronto today. He's been good at home this season, really good against lefties as well, which I do think is very important. Grisham, Ben Rice, Cody Bellinger, Chisholm, Wells, McMahon, right? A lot of lefties in this lineup. Now, you do have the Aaron Judge, the Giancarlo Stanton, like some of the bigger bats in this lineup that are righties that worry me to some degree. But overall, going up against Luis Gil, I do think that Gausman gives this Toronto team, especially at home, a little bit of an advantage. And we have this game priced right around minus 130. So if you can get it in the minus 120s, I think there's a little bit of value there. I think this Toronto team wins it. But much like I said with this Brewers and Cubs game that we just talked about, I think that we could see some offensive output in this one. And I've been saying, and did it necessarily come to fruition with the obviously with the Yankees and Red Sox series? Not so much, but I do think that this Yankees bullpen is still pretty tumultuous, and anything can happen in there. And it's not like Toronto's is like a ace of a bullpen, right? So I think that we could see some runs in this one. I've seen this total move around from 7.5 to 8. That's going to be very, very important if you do want to take a peek at it. So I do like the over, but Toronto is going to be the side that I lean towards here. Now, in terms of player props, I have two spots that I'm liking. Judge in his overs, as well as George Springer. Right now, over on Novig, which we'll talk to you guys about Novig in just a second, you can get for plus 103 a hit parlay between the two of them. So one guy on the Yanks, one guy in Toronto. They each just need one hit in the game, and we end up cashing in that. So that's probably something that we're going to sprinkle on or consider as well. But yeah, in this spot, I do think that Gausman can hold his own, throwing the fastball in the splitter. I think he can hold his own here. And late in the game, I have to say that Toronto has the better bullpen and the advantage there, and especially being at home. Now, let's remember, if you guys watched and you've been following along for a long time, we do have a Yankees future to win the World Series. I believe that's our only team left out of the three that we chose, right? Took a couple long shots. So I guess I'm sneaky kind of hoping for the Yankees, but not so much. I'm still a Red Sox fan at heart. So you know what? I'd be okay if Toronto takes this one, especially because that's how we kind of read the game as well here. But guys, let's go ahead and talk to you about Novig. I had mentioned it, right? If you have not signed up for Novig yet, you are literally missing out. You can probably beat most of the main books odds, like 85 to 90% of the time, especially with the total, the, I guess, either whether it's money line or spread or depending on sport you're looking at. Novig is amazing in terms of odds and pricing. And why is that? You might be asking. How can they just beat the price and the odds of all these other books? Because it's a peer-to-peer platform. You got Joe Schmoes like me out there setting their own lines with their own odds, and people can come in and look around and say, hey, I like this one. Boom, let's take it. For example, that hit parlay I talked about, right, with Judge and Springer. It's plus 103, actually plus 104, or plus 103 still, bounces back and forth over on Novig right now. It's like minus 110 on most books. Now, you might be thinking, who cares about that 13 cents, right? In the MLB, especially when volume is at an all-time high, you got multiple games every single day. Obviously, we're in the postseason now, but just overall, trying to make the point here, you have multiple plays. That 7 to 13 to 15 cents is going to matter so much. So go check out Novig, guys. Link down below in the description as well as the pinned comment. You do not want to miss out in this opportunity to be able to price and odd shop. Seriously, link down below in the description as well as the pinned comment. All right, game number 3, Philadelphia taking on Los Angeles here. Chris Sanchez on the bump for the Phillies, going up against Shohei Ohtani. So The tough thing here is to really analyze how Sanchez is going to do it because obviously the guy has been phenomenal, right? An amazing, amazing season. But his last couple starts here against this Dodgers squad, not so much, right? We go back 2 starts against him back in April, so really, really early, and honestly before he hit any sort of a stride, so I will admit that. But 5 2/3, 6 hits, 4 earned, did have 9 strikeouts, but 2 home runs let up. Then he pitched against him a little bit more recently, September 16th here. Philadelphia did win this game 9-6, but 7 innings pitched, 7 hits, 4 earned, 6 strikeouts, no walks, another 2 home runs. That same game Shohei pitched in, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the same date, right? 5 innings pitched, 0 earned, 5 strikeouts. Obviously, no home runs or anything like that because it was 0 earned. So it's hard to see who has the better pitching matchup here. I would say Sanchez is the better pitcher. I know some people, the Shohei stands might come from my head there, but Sanchez is an absolute stud, right? Whereas Shohei, I feel like, is just rounding into form, being able to give you, 5+ innings. He's going to throw a lot of fastballs and sliders. This is Shohei. Philadelphia hits those pitches really, really well. On the flip side, Sanchez throws the sinker and the changeup. Guess what? The Dodgers, number 2 team in hitting the sinker in the last 30 days here. The changeup 13th, so top half of the league. Is this another spot in which I'm looking at an over? I think it may be. I think we have 2 really good offenses here. And sure, maybe Sanchez pitches well. Maybe Ohtani pitch well. I don't think that both will pitch well, which is a crazy statement. I know. Like I always tell you guys, feel free to fade me. Probably worth the psycho alert alarm. But I think we could see some runs here. And what I feel like is the saving grace here. Even if these guys pitch really, really well, if Sanchez doesn't go 7-8 innings, I don't mind the Dodgers getting to that Philadelphia bullpen, right? As long as it's not the 9th against Duran. But still, then you flip it over to the Dodgers side, or excuse me, the Philly against the Dodgers bullpen. If Shohei can't give you 6 and they bring in someone early, I really don't mind this Dodger spot. This is a bottom 10 bullpen to close out this season in terms of ERA and WHIP. So yeah, this total sitting at 7. If we can even shop around and find a 6.5 for a nice price, I think that's what we look at, to be completely honest. Now, I haven't really given you a side, right, in terms of what I like. I'm going to say that Sanchez is more likely to nut up than shut up in this spot. So I'm going to lean towards the Phillies on the money line. I'm not going to call anyone crazy if they like the Dodgers. I've thought the Dodgers multiple times last night and this morning myself, right? But I think that over is probably where I end up getting to, and I'll get something down in this game, right? I mean, we're gamblers here. We're sports bettors. I'm not going to have a playoff game here, a standalone game. Not a standalone, but playing a playoff game and not have anything riding on it. Got to get the juices flowing a little bit. So it'll probably be the over there, but I do think that Sanchez has more of that dog in him when it comes to pitching. Shohei Ohtani is the better baseball player. I get it. I'm not trying to rag on Shohei. I know he's got a million fans out there going to be like, he's one of the best pitchers in the league. Shohei, yes, he is one of the best pitchers in the league, but I don't think that he's fully rounded into form. And this is playoff time in Philadelphia with good weather, right? That's when Philadelphia strikes, usually. Now, guys, comment down below. Am I crazy for liking the over in these games so far? Like, I'm not denying the fact that this is playoff baseball. That ain't usually how it works and everything like that. But man, oh man, the way I'm reading these games, I do see some runs today. We have good weather in some of these ballparks. Comment down below. Yes, crazy. No, crazy. Do you like the overs today, or are you all over the unders? Because obviously, as I say, we have good offenses. Like, think about some of the pitchers that I've listed starting today as well. You know what I mean? Like, we do have some really good pitching here. But let's dive into the next game. Comment down below, yes, crazy or no crazy, for me liking all the runs today in these games. All right, Seattle taking on Detroit. I feel like we're kind of ending on a dud here because this is by far and away, I will admit, the game that I have the least amount of interest in, and the odds would kind of say that as well, right? So Keider Montero right now is listed as the primary pitcher for Detroit. I believe we have Holton starting, if I'm not mistaken, so not sure how many innings he'll necessarily give us, but Keider Montero listed as the primary. He should be pitching the bulk of the game. Did I say Holton? Melton. Pitching. He's usually a guy that's going to go out there and give you 3 innings. There's been times this year where he's pitched 5 innings plus, right? So the starting pitching on the Detroit side of things is a little wonky to me. Not as sure exactly what we're going to get. On the other side of things, though, you have George Kirby, who I do think in the last couple weeks has rounded into form, right? He had 2 double-digit strikeout games to close out the season, or 2 of the last 3, and then the other one was 7 innings, in which he went 7 innings of 5 hits, 6 innings, 7 strikeouts, 0 earned against a Houston squad in a really big game in terms of deciding, playoff standings. Like, where's Houston now? Oh yeah, they're getting tans in Cabo. So this is a spot in which I think George Kirby goes out there and pitches really well. It's one of the games I don't like the over in. Not sure what we'll get out of Melton, Montero, and even the Tigers bullpen. So yeah, I do like Seattle. Can I justify minus 200, minus 200 and beyond? Hell no, right? The only thing that I will say is that Kirby does throw a lot of sinkers. This Detroit team has hit sinkers really, really well recently. Now, he also throws the fastball, the slider, the knuckle curve. Like, these are pitches that they don't hit well, but I just want to throw that out there. Kiner Montero is very good against righties. There's going to be, I believe, 4 righties in the lineup, but there'll be a couple more, switch hitters too, so there'll be lefties. To me, this is Seattle all the way. Maybe a Detroit team total under is the only thing that I'm looking at to be able to get to a point where we might have something going in this game, right? Because right now you have a really, really massive favorite. And like I said, I don't really deny that Seattle should be that big of favorites, right? It kind of makes sense to me. But a low scoring game in terms of what the odds makers have the total at makes it really, really tough to get to. So I think if we can look at Detroit and take their team total under, 3.5, if we're getting good odds, that might be what we look at. But I have a feeling that's going to be juiced through the moon. So as much as I just said I want something down on all these games, this is most likely going to be the hardest one for me to try and find something. But again, Seattle, Detroit team total over is what I'd look at. In terms of where we can go player prop wise, I don't mind some of these guys at the top of the order, other than Kerry Carpenter. I don't mind some of these guys at the top of the order of the Detroit team to take their under hits, runs, and RBIs. You have Torres, Wenceel Perez, Spencer Torkelson, even Riley Green. I think that those could be viable candidates here as well. Seattle can hand the ball off to a decent bullpen as well. Could be a decent enough spot in a pitcher's ballpark to take some unders for the players on that side. Nothing that's like a jumping off the page to me, but it is kind of how I would do it. And by the way, guys, you didn't tell me we got a more chins, more wins situation here with this lighting and camera angle. But ultimately, that's going to wrap it up for today's show. Hopefully, you guys did enjoy. If you did, go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Also, comment 16 down below. Let me know that you made it this far into the video. I absolutely love the matchups we hear. I think we're going to have some really entertaining baseball. Whether I'm right about a lot of runs being scored today or dead wrong, like, I'm still down to watch pitchers duels and follow along like that. You know what I mean? Like, I am not one to be like, oh, you need runs to have entertaining games. Baseball is awesome when it's like 1-1 in the bottom of the eighth and everyone's on pins and needles. Is it as exciting as a bunch of home runs? Maybe not the most, but man, oh man, is that intense. But again, guys, it's gonna wrap it up. Catch you guys in the next one. Right? Peace out.